Hey, my fallen ones, and welcome to another Shen Pe Uts Taa-Neter production. I am your hostess and storyteller, Shen Pe. And before I get started, I just want to make the following disclaimer. And I'm also going to add a new one because somebody had left a really stupid comment on one of my videos. I don't remember which one it was, but I'm just going to just add the following disclaimer. My posters are not for the emotionally challenged and intellectually impoverished. You have the right to remain vacuous. Everything you do not know will and can be used against you, most likely for profit. Again, I am a storyteller, and this video is for entertainment purposes only. So welcome back, and it's just a few things that I just wanted to go over, and I had to add that disclaimer because I said in my last video that my food isn't for everyone and it's not going to taste good. So I don't mind if you just, keep it moving, but I'm just going to come out and say, don't leave any stupid comments on my videos, okay? Because I don't like stupid people. And I'm going to go ahead and steal Yvette Carnell's phrase when she said that, she's very divisive and she divides herself from stupid people all the time. And so do I. I divide myself from stupid people and counterfeit spirits, okay? And there's a lot of counterfeit spirits walking around here in melanated bodies, both of both genders, okay? And again, like I said, I don't like any of y'all. I hate everybody equally. I'm free from all prejudice, right? I hate everyone equally. I don't like none of y'all. I'm doing this for myself. It's not about making you happy. This is about me and my journey. I don't, if you get something out of it that you can learn, then, then I know that my spiritual contract has been fulfilled, even if it's just one person. Even if it's just one person. It doesn't need to be a million because not everybody's going to make it, And like I said, I'm just here to fill my karmic debt and my spiritual debt, okay? And it's about me and it's about my journey. So you can just keep it moving. If my food doesn't taste good to you, doesn't sit in your stomach right, you get indigestion and all of that, then I suggest you keep it moving because this vibration is not for you. So now moving right along, okay? I just wanted to twofold. First, I did want to see this video, these people acting a fool. Wait, hold on. It's only 120. I had to watch that. That was crazy. And I love the music, that mountain music they had. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. Okay, enough of the jokes and shit, but I really wanted to share this article that I found in the New York Post, okay? And it's the mom of accused cop killer says she regrets ever making a 911 call. Yeah, she better, because that fuck shit she did, knowing that, and I know she knew that her son had a wet, like she knew she gave birth to a savage, okay? This lady done went to Baltimore and pulled him up out the street to bring him home to look after a so-called ill son, a son who was not doing well. Like, who the fuck does that? Yo, listen. Listen, let me move right along, okay? Because I'm very upset by this. The mother of accused cop killer LaShawn McNeil told the Post on Monday she wishes she never made the 911 call that led a pair of NYPD officers into a deadly ambush. A weeping Shirley Soares, whatever her name is, says she is beside herself thinking about the parents of the two shot cops, slain rookie New York police officer Justin Rivera and a critically wounded finest Wilbert Mora. Wilbert Mora died yesterday, right after I made that damn video, yesterday's video. If I knew, I never would have made the phone call, said the mom who's pleaded 911 about her mentally unstable son brought officers to the Harlem home Friday evening when an armed McNeil allegedly opened fire on them without warning. It's no allegedly. He fucking ambushed them. He opened fire on them without warning. I wish I never had called, Shirley said. I would like to say to Mr. and Mrs. Rivera that I am deeply sorry, the mom said through tears. I know that there is not words that I can express your pain, your sorrow. This bitch don't give a fuck. I'm going to tell you that now. She don't give a fuck. He was a drug dealer out there selling drugs. Me and my family are not proud of my son taking a life. Whatever. Listen. Here is the mud pie looking bitch right here. This is Shirley in her tiny ass 1-bedroom apartment, just like I had speculated. Her tiny ass 1-bedroom apartment, sitting at the table trying to look good with some books. One Bible, and I don't know what this book is, but it got the continent Africa on it. I don't know what she trying to she a black power chick? I don't know. She one of them people that'll march for the G Floyds and shit like that. It looks like it. Cause she looked like one of these mud pie bitches. One of these back in the day that we used to call, like, I'm 53. So, we used to go outside and play back then, but she looked like one of them dirty kids that we used to stay, the ones with the dirty houses, all over the smelly houses, and the mama who was just fat and just loud, and the kids who were just dirty. And here she is sitting here with her Bible. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something, because I keep hearing these people talk about sisterhood, and particularly black women. There is no sisterhood. I'm telling you, there is no sisterhood. Okay, right now the energies with the fifth son of dark, or the sixth son of darkness, temporary, and we're in the new sun cycle of 26,000 years. Like, go back and look at my other videos, Return of the Great Mother. Okay, I described the math right there. All right, and what I'm saying, this shift of the sun cycles from the divine masculine, we just had 26,000 years of the divine masculine, which was corrupted, and we just made it into the new sun cycle of 26,000 years of the divine feminine, right? And I'm going to tell you, there's never been a sisterhood. The patriarch is a myth. Feminism is patriarchy. It is both the same thing. patriarch feminist, right? That was a myth. It's never been a patriarch. It's always been the matriarch. Even 25,000 years, archaeologists have found, 26,000 years ago, as early as that, archaeologists have found from the last sun cycle that, evidence of God being worshipped as a woman, okay? And sometime, I don't know exactly for sure, but it got corrupted. It got corrupted. And, the sons of Satan helped with that. And the only sisterhood that do exist is the sisterhood of Satan, okay? They helped with that. They helped the sons of Satan bring about the patriarch feminist, okay? So, and I'm saying that to say that a lot of these people walking around here with counterfeit spirits, right? This is why it's not about actions. You got to know how to read people energy. You have to know how to read people energy. You really do. Because it's not about actions, right? Because action is a verb word. Action is also, or act is the root word of action. And act is also the root word of actor or actress, right? So you have to keep that in mind. Anybody can act like they like you. Anybody can act like they love you. Anybody could, act like they give a fuck, but their whole energy, their whole vibration is just saying something different, right? So I'm saying this to point out that she's a counterfeit spirit. Everything she's saying is a lie, right? Any woman, and I'm not talking about, my particular focus right here is on Black women. And at this point, I don't care what culture they come from, right? Any woman that you see with a Bible, okay? Any woman you see thumping the Bible, and she looks like she thumped that Bible, because I see everything over here highlighted and shit, So she's a Bible thumper. Any woman, any Black woman that you see thumping the Bible, she's male identified, because it's men that wrote that book. It was the Council of Nicaea in 300 AD with, I believe, I think it was, I'm not sure, maybe over 500 in attendance. And yeah, Black men were in attendance of that too. Okay. They had to put these books together. This was all a part of demonizing women, and reversing everything and making everything, they had to make the man important. And the man is made important through this fucking book right here, which, I'm really not gonna, the only thing that I use the Bible for is for spells. Okay. That's all I use the Bible for, spells. Babel, right? Bible, by Babel. I use it for spells. That's exactly what I use it for. Okay. That's another story. But it does have some good spells in it. I use that, and the book that Zora Neale Hurston wrote, which she went around and gathered all the old spells from the old slaves in the South. Yeah, yeah. I noticed that some of them actually work. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Any woman that you see thumping the Bible is male identified, okay? And you have to stay away from her. She is a counterfeit spirit. She hates you as a woman. She hates you because the Bible teaches men that they are the hierarchy, and, women ain't shit, and, that's how they should be treated. You're supposed to put your foot on their neck, right? That's basically what the Bible teaches. Okay. Any woman you see thumping a Bible, a Black woman in particularly, she is male identified. Okay. This bitch is male identified. She knew that this dude she gave birth to was a fucking savage beast. Okay. Here go this mud pie. Here go this mud pie. She looked like a look. She looks toxic. She looks like she's a mud pie. Okay. There is nothing I can do to heal your sorrow, but God is a comforter. You see this bitch throwing God in here after her son done murdered somebody else's son who was there to help the freaking community? And I know that he sent your son to do his will, she said, addressing Rivera's parents. I don't understand it. It's not fair. My heart goes out to you and oh my God. You know something? I'm so fucking disgusted. I'm so disgusted. So apparently this newspaper spoke to her hours before her son died in the hospital. The law enforcement sources told the New York Post that her son was entrenched in anti-authority conspiracy theories and even thought he was God. A situation that his mother said Monday prompted her to try to push him to get mental help. She's lying. She's lying. I told him to submit himself to help with this fucking Bible. I'm sure she did. Male identified. Uh, uh, mm, 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 mm. Child, I tell you. I'm so disgusted. I'm so mad about this because this right here. Don't expect police to come to your rescue, Black women. Don't expect them to do it. Okay? And as a matter of fact, don't expect anybody to do that. Like, for real, for real. Because these G Floyds that you gave birth to, they're not even here to protect you. Okay? Child. She told him to submit himself to help. At this point, his mental state was incapacitated. He thought he was God, and he wouldn't submit himself to no one. Sources said that McNeil also was. McNeil is this cop killer right here. That's the mud pie's son. Sources said that McNeil also was generally angry at his mom over such things as the fact that he was blind in his left eye. I already said in my last video that he hated her. I didn't even read this. I'm just reading this now as I'm reading it to you. I already told y'all he hates her. He hates her. Oh boy. But Mud Pie scoffed at the claim she had anything to do with the left eye being impaired. Who cares? That happened years ago, she told the Post. He had a fixation on guns. At age 21 in Edgemere in Queens, he had a shootout with the regulators. They are a gang. He shot off a BB gun and they beat him in the eye with a bottle. This mud pie fucking bitch. McNeil had been living in Baltimore, but his mother said she drove down to Maryland in November to bring him back to New York City. According to law enforcement sources, mother and son began arguing on the drive back to the Big Apple over McNeil's mental state. Look, this bitch, I told y'all, this bitch brought him back knowing she knew he had them guns in there. And her fucking trying to cop a plea with that bullshit. It's God's will. Oh my God. Like, I'm telling you, they had to put this out here so police will know that Black women don't give a fuck. Like, don't even bother. Like, you know, poor I tell you. So they were arguing while she was driving back from Baltimore to New York City over his mental state, his pennant for anti-government conspiracy theories, and his affinity for guns. And she still brings him over there in her one little bedroom apartment where police got ambushed and murdered. But Mud Pie needed G. Floyd to come up to help care for his older brother. Now, how is he going to care for anybody when he's not even able to care for himself? What is like, see, these counterfeit spirits, they think you're stupid. There is no sisterhood. There is no sisterhood. She hates black women. She hates black women. She gave birth to a mofo that hates black women, his mother. Right? So she brought him to care for his older brother, Hakeem, who she said suffered from lymphoma of the brain and recently underwent surgery. Hakeem was living in the Harlem apartment when the cops were shot. Older brother, other reports said it was a young child. Her stories are changing. Sources told the Mud Pie told police after Friday's bloodshed that she did not know G. Floyd was armed with an illegally modified Glock 45 caliber handgun at the time. He also had a loaded AR type weapon under his bed. So he burst out of the rear bedroom and ambushed the unsuspecting officers, continued to shoot even after they were lying helplessly on the floor. Oh, boy. So this is the rest about the police officers. This is Police Officer Rivera's mom. This is her mom. She was breaking down. This is so fucking sad. And this bitch should have just fucking kept her mouth shut. Because she sound fucking stupid. She sounds stupid. She a fucking mud pie. She what we would have called, I'm 53 years old. She looked like she could be up there in age with, she looked like she older than me, actually. She looked like she could be up there in age. She looked like them same people we used to call the dirty kids. Like the dirty kids. Like they were not well taken care of. Their homes were dirty. They were eating ketchup sandwiches and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't fed. They was, and they were just bad. And I guess it's because they were miserable because of their home life. They would always come outside and try to fight with other people. And the people they would always try to fight with were the ones that, were well taken care of and, were loved. You know what I'm saying? By their caretakers. Boy, I tell you, here's the mud pie with a Bible. And I just want to reiterate again that this is going to set the precedent for black women looking for assistance, okay? I'm telling you that right now. Okay? I'm telling you, even after you're dead, they're not going to give a fuck. They're not going to do anything to investigate. Like, they're not going to make any effort. Like, you're not going to get a $250,000 bounty for the G. Floyd that homicided you. Okay, they're not going to do that for you. Like they already wasn't going to do that for you, but now it's like they're not even going to bother to find that G. Floyd. Okay, if they just happen to pick him up in the street while he's committing a crime to some other ethnic group here, well then it is what it is. But they're not going to. Not only are they not going to come to your assistance, but when you do call and when they do come after you've been homicided, and if that person get away, they're not going to make an effort to find that person. If that person still happens to be there, then they'll just go ahead, lock them up, and probably give them a $5,000 bail. So I know I should be laughing, but y'all don't understand the significance and the seriousness of this one case right here, where police officers from different states came down for these police officers' funeral. I'm telling you, y'all just don't know. Listen, I just I just want to remind you also that you don't fully realize how big this problem is. Okay? There is no black community. You are the black community. Okay? You are the black community. And these G Floyds are costing you $50 billion in income every year. Okay? You don't fully realize how big this problem is. You don't fully realize how big this problem is. And I want to bring it right back here to this mud pie looking bitch. There is no sisterhood. Okay, so stop looking for these counterfeit spirits to be on code. Okay, the only code there is the code of the patriarch. All right, stop looking for these counterfeit bitches to be on code. Okay, because they're counterfeit spirits. Okay, they are counterfeit. They'll tell you one thing and then they'll do another thing, like a hypocrite, which is also an actor, right? So you have to go by people's energy, not by their actions, okay? Because, I mean, anybody could like act like anyway. Me, I'm up front. I already let y'all know I don't like none of y'all. I'm here because I have a karmic debt and a spiritual debt that I need to repay. I'm on my spiritual journey. It is all about me. Okay. Now, if you learn and can get something from that, then I know that my spiritual debt has been paid. My karmic debt is basically my sons. And that has a lot to do with me giving birth to sons have a lot to do with my karmic debt. Okay. But that's me. Okay, that's me. That's not everybody. All right. And there is no sisterhood. Please stop looking for that. There is no sisterhood. These lesser beings are counterfeit. Okay, they're counterfeit. They are counterfeit spirits. You have to understand that. You have to understand that. Like you have to stand in your own power. You have to stand in your own goddess power. You have to stand in your own, which means that you shouldn't really be following anybody. Let me tell you something. You shouldn't be following anybody. Now, getting information, that's not the same as following, right? But you shouldn't be following people. Like you just shouldn't do that. I remember when I was little, when we used to go outside and play, my dad, they had to fight for custody. I told you I'm mixed nationality. I'm first generation born on my dad's side in America, and on my mom's side, well, I just come from a long, long, long generation of slaves, of American descendants of slavery in America. I told you they've been here since the 1700s, and they still ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Been here that damn long and still ain't shit. Anyways, I'm saying that to say my dad, I was mostly raised by him and his mother, who was my grandmother. Okay. He used to tell me that, there was only two reasons they never put their hands on me. Like they never put their hands on me. I didn't get whippings or anything like that. And he told me there would only be two reasons why he would probably beat the shit out of me okay. He said there were only two reasons why he would hit me. The first reason he told me, not only would he hit me, but he would probably kill me, is if I ever disrespected his mother. That was it. That was the first thing he told me. You have disrespect, and you have disrespect my mother, I will fucking kill you. Basically, that's what he told me. Okay. And I was little. I think I had to be like about 6 or 7 years old, right? And the second thing he told me was, he said, and if you ever get into trouble because you were following people, he was like, yeah, I will beat the holy shit out of you. Don't be following nobody out here. Now, if you get into trouble because you led other people into trouble, I got your back. Don't even worry about it. But if I find out that you ever got into trouble following somebody, no. Not only will I not have your back, I will beat your ass. That's what my dad told me. Okay. And let me just tell you this. He told me this when I was like 6 or 7. He ain't never had to put his hands on me. Never. Because I ain't never disrespected his mother, who was my grandmama, who raised me like she's like literally my mother. My grandmama raised me. They had to get custody of me from my mother. So they practically raised me. So, and I'm gonna tell you, he ain't never had to put his hands on me because I ain't never disrespected my grandmama. I love her, even though she's from the old country and she had her old ways. I love my grandmama. She did everything she could for me. She practically spoiled me. She gave me anything I wanted. She never put her hands on me, but she could curse like a sailor. That's where I probably get my foul mouth from. She like she was like a verbal assassinator. Let me just say it like that. Like she can kill you with her words, like real talk. And like I told y'all before, words are spells and grammar is the grimoire. And my grandmama knew how to use that very well. Like, boy, I tell you, I got that from her. I got that from her. Like if I commit a verbal murder or a verbal homicide, I got it from her. Okay. And I'm good with it too. Let me just say that. I'm good with it too. But because I'm fulfilling my karmic debt, I'm pretty much, I have a little bit more patience than I did like 10 years ago and even 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But that's my journey, right? But my dad never had to put his hands on me because I never disrespected my grandmama and I never followed anybody. Now, don't get me wrong. I used to always fucking get in trouble. Okay. I always got in trouble. Like I was just a little, I don't know. I used to just get in trouble all the time, you know. But I always made sure, I would say trouble in the sense where, when you're a child is always going to test their limits, right? And that's what I did. I would test my limits with society, with adults, with the family. I would test my limits, right? And but I rest assure you, when I did get in trouble, when I did get reprimanded, I always had somebody following me. So I would make sure that I would never get in trouble by myself. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that, But yeah, that's I just want to say that I lost my train of thought, but my dad told me that. He was like, and I've never did that. And I'm saying that to say that as a woman, you're supposed to be standing in your own power. You're supposed to be moving to your own drum, to your own beat, to your own rhythm of the universe. You understand? Because you have that power to create life. You are the universe. That's you. That's you. The universe and a cosmos is two different things, right? But you are the universe. So you're supposed to be, because you can create life. You can create life. You have the power. Our Mother God gave you the power to create life. And that's why you have a menses. You have the menses to remind you that you carry nations inside of you, right? You carry nations. Like, there's no disputing that. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. Okay. You have nations within inside of you. You in yourself, you're a universe, one verse, right? That's you. The Bible was corrupted, you know, but basically when it said that there was the sounds and then there was man, and basically all cultures say that. Like, you go to any culture and they all say the same thing, you know, after that sound or the word, which is a vibration. Basically, it's a word is a vibration, right? A sound is a vibration, right? So that will be the verse. The universe is a compound word. Uni is one, verse is the vibration, the sound, the word. That's you. And in particularly, that's you, Black women, because you are the mother of all humanity. And I've said that in one of my other videos, Return of the Great Mother. So you should watch that. And I'm not even finished with that, but you are the mother of all humanity. And I'm saying that to say that you shouldn't, there is no sisterhood. There is a sisterhood, but it's the sisterhood of Satan. They are counterfeit spirits, like this mud pie looking bitch right here. Okay. Counterfeit spirits, thumping a Bible, male identified, patriarch feminist. That's what she is. Okay. She's a patriarch feminist. She's a counterfeit spirit. Counterfeit spirit. There is no sisterhood. There is only the sisterhood of Satan. That's it. Only the sisterhood of Satan. That's the only sisterhood that exists. Okay? That's the only sisterhood. And I'm going to get into that even more because these women are so deviant. They're male identified. You know, they're nothing without a man. They're very sexually promiscuous, and all they want to do is just bounce on the G Floyd dick. They're like beasts in the field, like that American white dude said on the G Floyd podcast when he was talking about the G Floyds. He wasn't necessarily talking about the lesser women, but I'm telling you that the G Floyd beast in the fields, you know, and I'm stealing that term from him, from this white American dude that came on this G Floyd podcast and pretty much ripped him a new asshole, right? But not only are these G Floyds beasts in the fields, but you've seen it on YouTube. You've heard these women say that, yeah, whatever, they still will bounce on the G Floyd. Ugh, that's just so disgusting. But yeah, they will still screw a G Floyd. They will do that. And I think that's nasty, but that's what these beasts in the field do. They like beasts in the field. You know, that's what the sisterhood of Satan is about, right? So yeah, what did I say? They're male identified, they're promiscuous. It's all about the dick. They don't care. They could get shot in the stomach by this nigga, but they're gonna be bouncing on his dick the next day, or even while they're in the hospital with a bullet wound. You know what I'm saying? They are they are just counterfeit spirits, these sisterhoods of Satan, and they try to seduce other women who they see that are beating to their own drum, their own universe, right? Their own rhythm, okay? Of the cosmos, right? They try to seduce these women into their into their trap. Basically, they try, you know, and they hate women. Women are competition for them. They hate women. You know, they're not equipped to move to their own beat. They're not equipped to do that. They hate women, and they're male identified. okay? And they try to seduce other women to pull them in to get harmed by the patriarch feminists. They do. They listen, like, don't take my word for it. Just Google search it. There's plenty of times where you got these lesser women bringing in other women that they're jealous of to be raped and homicided by G. Floyds. This has happened a lot of times. I don't hear anybody talking about that, though. I don't hear anybody talking about that. But these counterfeit spirits, these sisters of Satan, like, I don't like, you have to know. And first thing you would know is if this bitch is thumping a motherfucking Bible. She's automatically male identified. This book was written by men, and about 500 to 1,000 or 2,000 of them. I don't remember the number that was there, but that was a significant event in history. And it was towards the last end of the divine masculine sun cycle, when they switcherooed everything. They had to make the women look evil, and they had to put the men on top. And perhaps they did that so they think that they could carry on themselves within the next sun cycle, which we're in now, because, there's like a lot of the mysteries aren't taught to like the general people. The people who have the mysteries are supposed to, they're supposed to help people evolve. Now, not everybody, is going to have that spirit, because to evolve, to be evolutionary, and that's another thing. I'm not revolutionary, I'm evolutionary. A lot of people, a lot of people are here to fulfill their spiritual and their karmic debt. So they might not be even there yet where they're ready for that evolution, evolvement of their spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like, boy, I tell you, listen, there is no sisterhood. Stop thinking that you're going to like hook up. No, it's not like that, right? A woman who beats to her own drum who stands in her own power. A woman who stands in her own power, right? Is what Alexis K. Tyler liked to say, vagina power. That's actually her thing, vagina power. That's from Alexis K. Taylor. But a woman who stands in her own power doesn't have to follow someone else. They don't have to follow. They're not going to do that. They're not going to follow someone else. Now, listen to that person in terms of gaining wisdom and knowledge. Well, you really can't have wisdom without the knowledge, but the whole thing is to gain wisdom, right? But when you're listening, for a woman who stands in her own power, she's not necessarily following somebody else. She's just listening to that woman in order to gain information and wisdom so she can improve a certain or evolve in a certain aspect of her life or of her journey, because we all have our own paths and we all have our own journey. The only ones who have the same journey are the sisterhoods of Satan, okay? They're the only ones that have the same path and the same journey, and that's to seduce the women who are supposed to be standing in their own power, right? It's like I said in one of my videos, there were two races, and the sisterhoods of Satan's are the lesser race. They're the second ones. And it's because of their legacy, their seed, their generations that they gave birth to is the reason why we see this havoc today. Okay? They're the reason. And on top of that, they're black women. They're black women. Cause and I'm speaking about humanity. Remember I told you you have man, you have human, you have mankind, and you have humankind. These are four different, totally different entities in their own right. Okay? Man was first and humans came second. And man being the wombed man. Okay? Wombed man. They just, for some reason, took the womb out. But, the wombed man was here first. Humanity, that was a different story. Okay? That was a different story. Like, they were clones out of the man that was, as the story goes. And this isn't just in the Bible. This is, Sumerian texts, and even in different cultures, they were made from clay, right? This was the second race, and the females, they were clones. They were clones from the males to be the same biological, It's like I said before, when in science, in modern science, whenever they're doing stem cells, they get the stem cells from the bones, right? I don't know if you know this, but they do. They get the stem cells from the bones. And the ideal location for the stem cells in terms of modern science is the rib bone, okay? So I'm not really going to get into all of that because that's a part of my Return of the Great Mother series. But I just want you to know that the sisterhoods of Satan they're counterfeit spirits, like Eve betrayed Lilith in the garden. So they have no loyalty. These women have no loyalty and they hate women. They have no loyalty and they hate women. They're only loyal to the phallus. That's all they're loyal to. They carry their Bibles. They only loyal to the phallus. This is a counterfeit spirit. She's a counterfeit spirit, and the shit she's saying shouldn't even be coming out of her dirty mud mouth. Like, she should have just kept her fucking mouth shut. This is a counterfeit spirit with her African book here, probably one of them black revolutionaries or nevolutionaries. Like, that's telling me right there, her son is mentally ill. She knew this. She knew it. Look at this book she got over here. I know it gotta do something with some revolutionary shit. Boy, I tell you, I'm not a revolutionary. I'm an evolutionary. And I support abortion and eugenics. I do. I don't care who. As a matter of fact, that's an ancient practice. That's an ancient practice. Abortion and eugenics. That's nothing new. That's been around for 100,000 years. The purpose of that was to give birth. The purpose of abortion and eugenics was to give birth to human gods, not human animals. Like what we see here today are like human animals, right? Human animals. And humans forget that they are a part of the animal kingdom. I forgot the technical word you called them. My son reminded me. I can't even remember, but humans are a part of the animal kingdom. Like they are a species within the animal kingdom, right? The only difference is they walk on two legs. Even though you do got some apes now that do walk on two legs, you know what I'm saying? But again, the whole purpose of eugenics and abortion in ancient times was to birth human gods, not human animals, right? But what we have today are human animals. Mostly. And if you look, let me just reiterate this. Don't take my word for it, right? Look at that cable show. I think it's called Animal Planet. Now that was one show that I used to, well, I don't want to incriminate myself, but I used to get that like for free, and I would watch that with my sons when they were little. And I want y'all to go and look at Animal Planet, and I want you to see how all the animals within the animal kingdom are evolving, with the exception of humans. Those are the only ones that have not evolved. They're still beast-like, beast in the field, beast in the field. Okay? Just like the white dude said. And the male, he was talking about the males, but I'm extending that to the female counterparts. They're beasts in the field. Like for real, for real. These are like animals, human animals. That's why in ancient times, and when I say ancient, I'm not talking about 2,000 years ago, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about 50,000 years plus, okay? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about no little 2,000 years ago when it was the decline of civilization, you know, and the divine masculine was corrupted, around 2,000 years ago. The divine masculine was corrupted, and women had to be made to look evil. That's why they made Lilith a demon. She's not a demon. She's a goddess, and she's an immortal. She was a real person. She was full-blooded Anunnaki, and she was an immortal God being. Okay? But that's another story, because I'm going to tell her story, because, I embody that spirit. I embody the spirit of Lilith. That's why I changed my name to High Priestess of Babylon. And I'm going to get into that also when I talk about the sisterhoods of Satan, right? I'm going to get into, then you'll know then why I changed my name or my handle on YouTube to High Priestess of Babylon. My last handle was The Fallen Ones. And I'll tell you right now why I said The Fallen Ones, because the Black woman, who is the mother of humanity, is the original fallen one. We are the original fallen ones. Like, that's not an opinion, that's a fact. And there are people that know that, but they're not going to give you that information, because most of you are still beast in the field. Like, like really, for real, for real. For real, for real. Beast in the field. Beast in the field. Okay? And like, you can't give information to like animals, to people who portray animal like behavior. You understand? So I'm just really disgusted of this mud pie female. Yeah, I said female. I'm disgusted by this. And Black women, you don't fully realize how big this problem is. You don't fully realize how big this problem is. Yes, I have sons, but I don't consider myself divested. I'm just not Black no more. And I didn't raise my sons in Black culture. I didn't raise them thinking that they wasn't shit without a father in the household. I didn't raise them to think that, well, first of all, the father in the household bullshit. Let me tell you something. My father was in the house, but I barely saw him because he was always working. All right? I mean, that should be a hint. Because it's really the women that, okay, I'm going to get into another, but I just want to throw that out there. I never saw my father because he was always working. And when I was with my son's father, they have the same father. When I was with him, he had 2 jobs and a hustle, like I said in the last video. So I hardly saw him either. My sons hardly saw him. He was always at work, okay? And that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. So I didn't rear my sons, and yeah, I meant to say rear because you raise animals, right? I didn't raise animals, and I didn't raise kids. And kids are, by ancient tradition, and I'm talking 50,000 years plus, kids are sacrificial beings, right? So I didn't rear my sons to feel bad because, there was no father in the house, right? I didn't raise them with that black mentality. I didn't raise them to be black. I'm telling you, I did not raise my sons to be black. I did not raise them. I didn't rear them. I'm sorry. I didn't rear them. Well, you raise animals. I didn't raise them because you raise animals. I did not rear them to be black. Okay? I didn't rear them around that nasty ass, degenerate black music, black art. I don't watch TV, and they don't watch TV. Let me tell you, I've been reading since I was 4 years old. And back then, we only had 13 channels on the TV, and you had to get up and turn that shit yourself. There was no remote. There was no cable. There was none of that. The only thing I watched on TV was Electric Company, Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. That's all I watched. Okay. And I was reading since I was 4. So that was like my spiritual parents. I got an education through them. Like, they guided me towards things, what I needed to read. I've been reading since I was 4. By the time I was 8 years old, I read all the classic novels: Robinson Crusoe, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Moby Dick, Alice in Wonderland, Through the Looking Glass, Five Little Peppers, Little Women, Little Men. I mean, I read all of that shit by the time I was 8. Okay. I wrote my first little mini novel when I was in the 3rd grade. All right. So I don't watch TV like that. It's not like it's been like forced on me or anything. I've just never got any satisfaction or gratification from watching TV, right? Um I never got any satisfaction or gratification from watching black people portrayed like beasts in the field, right? That just never turned me on. I'd rather go read a book. I'd rather go read a good book too. Science fiction, non-fiction, you know. I'd rather do that. I'd much rather, and I still read to this day. I didn't elaborate on that in my first video, Winter is Coming, when I read that poem from 1845, you know, and the name of it is Winter is Coming. That was written in 1845 or something like that, right? But I read a lot. I read, and I read them to like do the same thing. Like, I didn't fuck a TV. TV couldn't teach them nothing except how to be a animal, basically. And I didn't want them seeing that. I didn't want them seeing black women portrayed on TV like sluts and promiscuous sluts. I didn't want them seeing black men portrayed on TV like, just degenerates, can't even speak black English correctly. They even messed that shit up. I don't even know what the fuck these motherfuckers are saying. I didn't raise them, or I didn't rear them to watch that. I didn't want them to see that. I didn't want them to see that. I didn't. I just didn't. And if, granted, I didn't have any girls. My dad told me that it wasn't possible because I'm mean. He said I couldn't give any birth to girls because I'm mean. But I think that, spiritually, I couldn't give any birth to girls, and because I had a karmic debt to fill, that's why they were born. And because there couldn't be 2 goddesses in the household. Like, I'm a goddess in my own right. I need my own space. Okay. It wasn't gonna work. It wasn't gonna work. It just wasn't gonna work. So, but that's me, right? That's me. That's not anyone else. I'm telling you my experience, okay? And my opinion. That's my opinion. But my sons, I didn't, even if I had a daughter, I wouldn't have let her. I wouldn't have reared her watching media or TV or anything like that either. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't have done that. I would have had her reading and writing too by the time she was 4 years old. You know what I'm saying? The I taught my oldest son to read, and he went to school. He's done good. My baby, he was reading by the time he was 4. He was writing songs and stories, like little mini stories when he was 4. I had to lie. I forged his damn birth certificate and everything, and so I could put him in kindergarten and when we were in Georgia, because like I said before, he was raised in Atlanta. I had to like do that because his birthday was after the cutoff date. So I made his birthday for before the cutoff date, and I just sent his ass to school. Then after almost a year, they found out when they was doing birthdays. My son was adamant. He was like, no, my birthday is such and such. And they found out that I had lied about that, and they sent him home that day. But it's all good. That was another story. Anyway, by the time he did go to kindergarten next year, I got a call from the teacher saying that he was not paying attention and fighting the other students in classroom. And I asked the teacher, I was glad she called me, but I asked her, I was like, so what are y'all doing? She was like, well, we're coloring our ABCs and he don't want to. I was like, listen, my son is bored. That's the problem. That's why he's acting out. He's bored. I said, can we just get him tested? And she was like, sure, you just have to put it in writing. So that's what I did. I just recommended it. I had to put it in writing that I wanted my son tested, blah, 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 for gifted children classes, right? And that's what you got to do. You have to be active. I was always active in their education. I didn't just send them to school because I wanted to get rid of them to have my own time, like these counterfeit women hating sisterhood counterfeit spirits do. They send their kids to school because, first of all, they don't want to be bothered. They want their own time, and they just want them out of their face. See, that's another thing. I didn't have children because my sons didn't come here because I just wanted to hop on a dick. That's not why they're here. They're not here because I just had to bounce on somebody's dick. That's not. I wanted them, and I had them when I was in my 30s. Most of these kids out here are here because their mother wanted to bounce on the dick. She's male identified, like this like this mud pie, male identified, right? And she probably only had this cop killer because she wanted to bounce on the dick. I'm telling you, she was probably high when she was doing it, or drunk or whatever. Same thing. We don't do drugs up in here. Okay. The only drug my youngest son ever did was sugar, and that was in his teenage years, and I had to cut him. I had to shut him down on that sugar. I'm telling you, I had to, because that shit just had him too damn hyped. So yeah, I cut all of that shit out. So he's not a sugar junkie anymore. He's not a sugar junkie. I nipped that in the bud too. I got him help for that, literally. Okay, but and when I say sugar, I mean like candy and candy bars and junk food. Junk food with all that damn sugar. What I'm talking about. So when I had my children, it wasn't because I wanted to bounce on a nigga dick, right? I was active in their school years. By the time he went to kindergarten, the teacher called me and I had him tested for the gifted program. It took like 3 months. So in Georgia, they start school they start school in August. In New York, they start school in September. In Georgia, they start in August, right? So I think he went she called me in September, so it was October, November. So yeah, by December, he was finished the testing and I got all the results. And come to find out, well, I already knew, but it was new information to the school system that, my son was actually gifted and talented, right? And so for the rest of his kindergarten year, he didn't have to go back to the classroom. They would escort my baby to the library where he had access to all the books and the computers. Okay, yeah, because I bought them a computer when he was 4 and his older brother was 6, so they had a computer at home already, and back then that's when we didn't have like the Wi-Fi. You had to plug it in DSL. You had to plug in the internet in the wall. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't buy them the computer for internet because I've been online ever since like America Online, 1997, when they was giving the free shit. That's when I've been online. I think since 97 or 96. But I didn't use it for them to get online. I bought them the computer so I can, buy them educational DVDs and things like that and games. And they love the Harry Potter things. So, I would spend money on that stuff for them. You know what I'm saying? And but my baby actually got to go to the library for the rest of the school year and sit in the library and read any freaking book he wanted to, any level book he wanted to, and be on the computer all day. Okay. And the next year, they actually transferred him to a whole nother school that was just for gifted students, gifted and talented students, they called it. So he didn't go to the black school anymore. He went to the school that they sent all the white kids. Okay. And yeah, so like I said, I didn't give birth to them. They wasn't, even if I had a girl, even if I wasn't that mean, because my father said I couldn't have any girls because I was, I'm a mean person. But it's because I marched to my own damn beat. Like, for real, I don't follow nobody. I don't do that. I don't follow anybody. I might search for information and somebody might have some information that, could help me. I'm not going to dismiss that, but it doesn't mean that, like, I'm like, following that person, but I'll get into more of my sons later because I know when I had stopped teaching back in 2012, what I do teach about the return of our Mother God, and I had to separate myself from those counterfeit spirits, the sisterhood of Satan. Like, yeah, they were nasty. They were like everything that I explained that the sisterhood of Satan, they hate women. They were, anyway, when I stopped teaching back then in, 2012, 2013, and I had to separate myself. I just wanted them people out of my circle. I didn't want them following me. You understand? I didn't want, and they were like attracted to me, like, I don't know. They were stuck on me, like, for real. And, at that time, my boys were little. They were still in elementary school. And I just want to say that I know some of them had sons, and a lot of those women, lesser women, sisterhoods of Satan, counterfeit spirits that did have sons, they were the same women that were talking about, yeah, it's better if the black man be gay, so then we can have an ally for our side, so the black women can have an ally. It'll be better if he's gay. So I'm glad. I support that. I want to see a nigga suck another nigga dick and shit like that. And these counterfeit spirits had sons. So I could imagine now, they had sons that were the same age as my sons at that time, 2011. 2010, boy, I tell you, my sons are my youngest is 22, my oldest is 24. And I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure without even having to do the research or looking into it, I'm pretty sure that their sons are fucked up. Like, even whether they're gay or not, they still hate women, and I because you get that from your mother, right? Whether they're gay or not, I'm pretty sure they hate women. I'm pretty sure most of them are probably gay, and gay. Well, I noticed that in the alphabet gang, I noticed that the white gay people and the black ones, they all emulate the black American women, right? They copy them, they follow them, and I'm telling you, it's not out of flattery. It's out of envy and hate, you know? It's out of envy and hate. And that's the same reason why a woman would set another woman up to get raped and homicided. That's envy and hate, right? So I'm sure that those same chicks that were following me, I'm pretty sure that like they're really all fucked up now while they over here talking about they were the first, and they whole they don't even they family ain't even right. Like I said, I'm not a feminist. I'm not a womanist. I'm a mother. I'm into motherism. I'm a motherist, right? So my thing is like family. You understand what I'm saying? Even my thing is like family. And like I said, the only family I have left now are my sons. Even though they moved out into their own place after 2 years of college. Then they went to work. Then, they was actually here up until they second year of college. Then they got a job. A year after that, then they moved out. You know what I'm saying? So, and that they've been out since 2020. They both moved out since 2020. Um, but yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. I didn't have them because I wanted to bounce on a nigga dick. I actually called their souls. I called them in. I called souls in, and I'm grateful that that they chose me to come through. I'm grateful that my sons chose me to come through. I am. I'm very grateful for that. And I don't have to worry about dying and you know they wanting to flush my they want to flush my ashes down the toilet, like I heard Corey Yonder said, another YouTuber. That was just crazy. He hated his mother so much he couldn't wait to flush her down, cremate her and flush her down the toilet. My sons don't feel that way about me, you know what I'm saying? And in my old age, they're looking to like it's like they want to take care of me. They want to protect me, you know. And it's not just me, but they feel like, they should do that with every woman. And that's another thing. Like, I didn't raise them to be black, so and I don't encourage them to, like, I'm not overt with it. I'm more covert with it. I don't encourage them to, I won't say date, but I don't want them, like, I don't encourage them to, yeah, let me use the word date. I don't encourage them to date black women. And that's not just American, and particularly American black women. I don't encourage them to date American black women. I don't encourage them to date black women from the Caribbean, or what my mother would call West Indian. I don't I don't encourage them to, and I have my reasons for that. There's a lot of counterfeit spirits going around here, and I have my reasons for that, and I don't encourage them to date African women or women from the African continent either. And I already know, being being I already know, being the mixed nationality that I am, Latin American or Hispanic. I say Hispanic because I'm dark skinned, and American Black, it's like I already know like the prejudices. I was raised around those prejudices from my grandmother. Like she was very prejudiced against American Black people. She didn't want me with one. She always wanted me with one of her people from Latin America. Um, so I'm not gonna say like what Latin American country, but it was in South America. Okay, the country they come from is in South America, right? My dad and I already know like, and even growing up in a predominant immigrant community in Brooklyn, like, and they were like from all different places, like Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana, Belize. It was like a very mixed, and it's a large community too in Brooklyn. You know, and growing up with those prejudices from my grandmother, and then the prejudices from the other communities who I was friends with, uh like they did not they did not fuck with, or they did not mess around with like American Blacks, whether it was the women or the men. That wasn't like really, like, they would either stick to their own kind or they would mix nationality. So like when I say mixed nationality, it would be like a Bayesian with a Guyanan, or a Trinidadian with with a Jamaican, and nobody ever fucked with the Haitians. Look, I'm not saying that to be funny, but nobody, like, they like literally they they literally stuck to their own kind. Nobody would fuck with the Haitians. I don't know if it was just a Latin American thing or just a Caribbean thing at all, but no one would fuck with the Haitians, okay? Like, they literally dated their own kind. So I do know what's going on with that, but I'm not gonna say that in this video. But in terms of my sons and in terms of them dating, they date outside of their race. I'm not gonna say they date outside of their nationality on my side, which is my dad's side. They date within that nationality, but they also date within other nationalities too, you know. So and when I say that, I don't mean Caribbean, like they date outside the race. Basically, they date outside the race, and that's what they're doing. They date outside the race. And I don't I I don't encourage them to date women from the African continent, and I don't, and that's because I know that they're, well, first of all, I already know that being a woman, an African woman from the continent, they don't want to have nothing to do with Black American men. Like, they just don't. Like, what they call us, kafas or some, I don't know, slave or something like that. That they got like this term that they call. They don't want to do it. Like, they would prefer to date their own kind, right? And it's crazy, but I know that because I am mixed nationality, and I have traveled. I've like left my backyard, and I'm not just talking about, I've traveled outside of the country. you know yeah, I've been to different states in America, but I've traveled outside of the country, and I'm in the process of renewing my passport now, right? I've had a passport since I was like, I think 3 years old, right? Because my father is, he migrated here. They did get their American citizenship, but you know they would still go back to their Latin American country, and I would go with them. But I've been to several places, not just the country that my dad was from, and so it's different when you get to leave America. It's like the is just totally different. It's just I can't really I can't really express it. It's like you would have to experience that on your own. Like that's something that I would suggest that you experience on your own. When you leave it's just so different. The ways of thinking, the cultures, everything is different. It's not like here, right? But the culture on the and I'm not even mad at that. I'm not even mad that African women won't date what they call African American men. My sons are American black or Americans. I don't even consider myself black. So they're Americans, or like Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, who are the founders of the Advocacy Foundation. They are American descendants of slavery, their dad is Native American, but he's also born here. And I think that he was part of those people that was kicked out of the tribe. I don't know if y'all remember that had happened some years ago, and the descendants of slaves were suing to get back in the tribe. Yeah, he's a part of them people. So he even have a Native American last name, referencing an animal. So but either way it go, they're still American. They're American, even though they may be mixed. Well, I won't say they're mixed nationality because their dad is Native American, so that makes them American. I'm American. I was born here, even though I'm first generation on my dad's side. I'm still American, so they still American. And then my mother, she's her people been here since the 1700s. So you know basically you're defined by your mother's lineage and not by your father's, right? So based on that social fact, I would be American descendant of slavery, right? And so I'm not even mad that maybe African women wouldn't even look to American descendants of slavery men to date, including my own sons. You know what I'm saying? um I don't want them with any I wouldn't prefer them to be with any African women or any women from the continent either. So it works out pretty well. But and I'm not saying that to insult anybody. I'm not saying that to insult anybody. And then there's other reasons too why I don't they deal with like a lot of magic and stuff, and like that's like they're not like how you say like American blacks over here have to be initiated unless you're from the South. Unless you're like one of them old people from the South that do mojos and hexes and things like that. But I think that's even a dying traditional culture in the South. I think that's unless you go to Gullah Gullah Islands, right? With the American descendants of slaves that lives over there in the Gullah Gullah. I mean, I think, but like if you're like in the deep South, like South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Louisiana. Well, maybe not Louisiana. I think they still into the magic over there. But certain states, I think, is pretty much dying. And what I'm just saying that to say that like a lot of the maybe it's because of the great migration. I don't know. But I noticed like I was born and raised here in New York. For these people up here up north, it's like for them, it's like something that they have to be initiated into with the rights of a dude telling them, It's like a whole lot. It's like that black power crap, like that revolutionary crap. Like you just got to be like initiated into it. But I know for people in Africa, that's like a way of life. I know for people in South America, where my father is from, and either other parts of South America, that's a way of life. And even in the Caribbean, like that's a way of life. Nobody is like initiated into it. Like if you need something done, like an apartment or a job, you know who to go and see, right? You pay your little ties to them and they'll hook you up, right? You'll get that apartment. I mean, these people use it like for everyday things, like for everyday things, right? It's not like, especially where I'm here at in the north, uh people over here do. Is like they're kind of like scared of it or whatever. I don't know. But in the south, I think it's dying in the south where that used to be a way of life. It's not anymore, unless you probably go to like Louisiana, certain parts of Louisiana, and Gullah Gullah Island, which I think is the island off the coast of either South or North Carolina. I don't remember. But yeah, so I would not prefer them to be with a woman from the African continent. I would not prefer them to be with a woman that's Caribbean. And I would not prefer them to be with an American descendant of slavery. I just don't. I just don't. And that's not because of magic and stuff, because it's like the women here in America that are black are very ignorant of their own power. Like they are very, I don't know, like there's no more sojourner troops and people like that. Like they're ignorant to their own power, and the power that they do have is being co-opted to benefit other people, is being co-opted to benefit everybody but themselves, basically everybody but themselves, right? And I don't want them with any I just don't want them with an American black person either. And that's mainly because it would have been different, you know it's mainly because the low self-esteem. They don't know their own power. Um, all of that. It's just all of that. And most of them walking around here counterfeit spirits. Most of them are walking around here like counterfeit spirits, like sisterhood of Satan. You know, is I don't want that for my son. Like I don't want that for either one of my sons. And I've always told them when I knew that they got old enough, to start thinking about girls and having sex, even though I couldn't prevent them from having sex, because people are going to do what they want to do. I always warned them, right? I always warned them. When they were like 10 and 11, I gave them my biology book, that I had from one of my medical classes that I had to take. And I never threw that book out because that book was like $300, right? So I gave them my biology book. It was anatomy and physiology book. My bad. It was anatomy and physiology, and I gave them, and I told them the chapters to read on the man and woman reproductive system. I didn't read that to them. I let them go through that themselves. And even though I know it was a college level book and they were only 10 and 11 years old, I knew they were smart. Like, yes, men do develop slower, but that's in other areas. But in terms of their intelligence, like they are really, they can grasp a lot of things, because my boys are geniuses. Like, they build computers, they build and program robots in their sleep, right? Like the computers they have, they didn't even buy that shit. They built that shit, all right? Because they're trying to get some type of supercomputer thing. I don't understand, but when I say that they mature slower, like my youngest son, he didn't stop jumping on the bed till he was like 16. And he's a genius. He was already building robots at that point. This is what I'm saying. They're just slower in certain ways, you know. And that's a part of my karmic debt, because I don't have the patience with shit like that, you know. And I was glad when they moved out too, because like I have my own space again now. But that's another story. Um, they're geniuses. I love them. They're geniuses, but they just slow as fuck. And I think that has everything to do with the short circuited chromosome, the Y chromosome, and it had to be manipulated and mutilated actually to for them to be in existence. So um yeah. So I don't know. I don't really. I encourage them to date outside. I do. And I even when I gave them that biology book to read, I also gave them another book when they were in high school. Um this one. I got them this book when they got to high school cuz I knew it was going to get rough on them then. It's called it's called How to Manage Your Dick, which is an acronym for destructive impulses through cyberkinetics, redirect sexual energy, and discover your more spiritually enlightened and evolved self. I gave them that. I bought that book. I bought that book by Sean Joseph O'Reilly. And I'm going to get into that in another video. But I want you to see, I bought this book for them when it had to be like 2013 when I bought this book for them. And I suggest that even if you're a woman, you should read it too. Like, you should read it. You should, if you have a son, you give it to your son to read. If you have a daughter, you give it to your daughter to read. If you're a mother, you should read it too. Okay? You should read this too. This is very important. I got this book for them to read in their first year of high school. Okay? And I've always told them ever since I knew then that they were old enough to have sex behind my back. First of all, I told them to use condoms because syphilis and herpes, was rampant out here, especially with the young people. And you got men out here double dipping, and you have them sleeping with young men, right? That happens a lot. They actually did a study on that at Johns Hopkins University. Yep, I think that study was around 2013, 2014. They was actually doing a study on the pleasures that older men get sleeping with so-called African American male youth, right? The older men. They was doing like some pedophilia research that was actually sanctioned by the NIH, National Institute of Health, which I believe is a federal institution. But yeah, so I warned them against the herpes and syphilis because, the double dipping and these uh, boys sleeping with these grown ass men, and a lot of times just for a place to live, right? And then they sleeping with the young girls, and they're passing it on. They're passing it on to the young girls, and the AIDS and the HIV too. So I couldn't like stop them from it. So I explained to them, sexually transmitted diseases, the had to wear a condom, but I also told them, you know, um, I also told them, and I think I didn't want them with no promiscuous women. So I think that was like covert for like, don't bring no black girls back here. Don't bring no black girls to my house, because, you know, and then at that time I was still like in my 30s. I was like, I'm not ready to be no grandmother. And I was like, I didn't think it was funny that, these 15-year-old girls out here having babies and these 30-year-old mothers out here bragging about, yeah, I'm a they at the corner store bragging to the Arabs about being a damn grandmama at 30. Like, look at my grandbaby. Oh my God. Y'all, I'm 53 years old. I have no grandchildren. Okay. And I told them that back then. I'm not trying to be a grandmother before I'm 50, because that's not normal. It's not normal to be a grandmother at 30. And if you make that shit happen, if that happens, I will beat your ass. I will beat that girl ass, and I will take her home, and I will beat her mama ass too. And I just told them straight up. And I also told them that they had to watch, because I told them sex can be a blessing or it can be a hex. It can give you life or it can give you death, right? I didn't really go into the sexual tantrum with them. That's why I bought them this book. Okay? And I gave them other things to read. But this was the main one here. So I did let them know that it was either a blessing or a hex, that it can give you life or death. And I told them, that literally they knew. I told them in so many words that heaven was in between the legs of a woman, that they were spiritually connected to a woman, right? That it's the women that provide spiritual connection. Like, they shouldn't be fucking just to be fucking and just to be uh dumping their sperm. That's basically what I told them. That it was a spiritual act, and it was a sacred act, and that they should respect it as such, right? And not only should they respect it as such, but the partner that they choose to sleep with should also respect it as such. Basically, I told them, if her mind was not right, if her head wasn't right, meaning if she wasn't right there mentally, emotionally, psychologically, then her pussy is not right, basically. And it won't give you life. It'll give you death. Like, you'll die after fucking her. You will drop dead. Like, yeah, I did scare them with that, probably. I don't know. But I had to reinforce that it's a sacred act, because, like I said earlier, I didn't have them because I was just horny and wanted to hop on a dick, right? That's not how they got here. They did not get here like that. And that's not just on my side, that's on their father's side too. You know? That's on their father's side too. You know? So they need to understand that it's a sacred act. It's a spiritual and it's a sacred act that can bring you life or it can bring you death. I just want you to, don't take my word for it, but you should observe people. You should observe people who, especially these men around here that's just dumping all over the place. You should observe them. They're 18 and they look 44. They're 20 and they look 60. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Just observe what they look like. Not just them, but the females too. The counterfeit spirit females too. Look and see what they look like. Like, sex is an exchange of energy. It's not just an exchange, like I said in my last video, it's not just an exchange of chemicals, but it's an exchange of energies, right? And Yeah, it's an exchange. It's a give and take. Even though you're the temple as a woman and you're taking in all of this stuff, but you're also giving. You're either giving life to that person or you're giving death to that person. And I mean spiritually. I don't mean chemically. I'm talking about spiritually. There is a such thing as spiritually transmitted diseases, right? STDs, you know? I'm not talking about just chemically. I'm talking about spiritually. You can provide a man life or death, right? You can add 10 years or 50 years to his life, or you can deduct 30 years from his life, right? You can shorten his life. And the same way with the man, but not as not as powerful as you, because with the man, what he's doing is that he's just unloading his spiritual being onto you, and you have to carry that, whether it's malevolent or benevolent. You are the carrier of his spiritual semen. You are the carrier of that. So if he is all messed up and toxic, if he's fucked up emotionally, spiritually, physically, all of that, then you'll have to carry that. You will have to carry that. But I'm gonna end it here because I don't want to be rambling. I just wanted to mention my sons, because I do have sons, and I'm not divested. I'm just not black anymore. I'm not black. I don't do black things. I don't watch black people on TV. I don't even have TV. My sons don't have a TV. Well, they have a TV, but they mostly busy with their online community, their online gamer community, which is, people from around the world. So, and like me, they just watch movies and they don't watch any black movies or any movies with like black people in it. Like, we just don't do that. We don't watch any black movies with any black people in it. We don't watch TV where they got black people looking like boy, I tell you, it's bad. And because, it's not just America that's watching black people on TV. It's people from all over the world. And even though my sons don't watch TV and they're in this community and online, they have an online community from people around the world. They even get flat from people around the world who might see some degenerate shit, either from a black woman or black men on TV, and they'll give my sons flack about that shit. They damn sure would. Actually, my sons lost, then told me they didn't know about racism, right? But they actually told me they lost a couple of friends over that. But I think they just got in their feelings, like, I don't think they should let it bother them. But, I think they just got in their feelings and probably off the friendship or whatever. But yeah, this is serious. This is why I don't let them watch TV, you know. I never did. I didn't raise them up on that. I didn't rear them on that. I didn't rear them on that. And I didn't rear them to be beasts in the field either. You know, I didn't. I didn't raise them to do that. So I'm going to come back again because, black men, they have a karmic and spiritual debt that they have to fulfill. They do. They have one. And I don't want my sons being a consequence of that. But because I know, and when I say a consequence of that, I don't want them being like, like I just don't want them being a consequence of that. Even though I know that as black men, they are still a part of the collective, which means that they're going to have to pay up on that debt. And part of that debt is not, see, it's an esoterical thing. So part of that debt is not recreating themselves. And the only way they can recreate themselves is through a Black woman. That's the only way they can recreate themselves is through a Black woman. And I'm going to get into that another time. I'm going to go over that because I've been rambling long enough. And I just wanted y'all to know that I didn't rear any savage beasts, and I'm not a counterfeit spirit, and you should be very aware of counterfeit spirits like this, especially the Bible thumping ones. They are all a part of the sisterhood of Satan. And I'm going to go into the sisterhood of Satan another day. Okay. See, she knew she gave birth to them. Like I said, she probably just wanted some dick. And he probably know that. That's why he hates her. that's why these men hate they mothers, and that's why they hate Black women. And that's why they try to use Black women as cum dumpsters, for lack of a better phrase, but it is what it is. And she wanted some dick. Like, she just wanted to fuck. And so did his father, or whoever his sperm donor was. He just wanted to fuck, and they produced a demon. That's what they did. They produced a demon. See, I didn't do that. My sons love me naturally. They love me. They love me, and it's not even that they show it, but they tell me that, even though they don't live with me now. Like, they've been telling me ever since, like, they were little, I love you, Ma, I love you, Ma. And they were never ashamed to say that in public around anyone. They were never ashamed. They would just blurt out for no freaking reason, I love you, Ma, I love you, Ma. For no reason. They would blurt that out, and people would look at them like they were crazy. Like, why are y'all looking at my children like they crazy just because they told their mother they love me? Like, they not supposed to, But yeah. And they still tell me that. They don't live with me anymore, and I'm glad, because now I have my own space, and I can't deal living with no men. And like I explained to y'all before with their father, I couldn't do it. That's in my last video. But I'm glad, because but like I said, it's part of my karmic debt. But I'm glad they're out. But even still, they call me. They'll call me like once a week just to make sure I'm okay. Are you all right? You need anything? You good? All right. Talk to you later, Ma. I love you. Yep. I get those phone calls. So like I said, I don't have to worry. If I was to drop dead right now, I won't have to worry about neither one of them wanting to cremate me and flush my ashes in the toilet. But I'm gonna just leave it at that, and I'm gonna just come back because I want to discuss more about the sisterhood of Satan. I think I should do that because y'all need to really be wary of these counterfeit lesser women. I'm telling you, they are not in their God power, and they're trying to seduce other women who they see have that light and that stand in their own God power. So that's enough of my esoteric rant. That was an esoteric rant. But I'm angry about a lot of things. Just stay away from these damn sisterhoods of Satan. And anybody tell you about a damn sisterhood, run the other way, because they don't exist. They don't exist. And that's only, one of these counterfeit spirits trying to seduce you to draw in on your power, because they see that you have the light, and they see that you're a goddess within your own right. within your own right. And a woman who's a goddess within her own right, she makes her own world. That's why she's the universe. She makes her own world, right? There could only be like one God, or you could only like serve one master. You get what I'm saying? So a goddess who's a goddess in her own right, like for example, myself, I'm a goddess in my own right. You see what I'm saying? You know, uh, a title ain't shit without the story behind it. So I have the story behind it, right? I'm a goddess within my own right. I will not infringe on another woman who I know by her energy, right? And when I say energy, I mean inner, like inside, G, like your chi, right? Her energy will radiate outside, right? So you could feel it, right? So I will never infringe on another goddess space. I would never do that. You know, I would, cause you can't do that. That's why I didn't have any girls. It ain't because I mean, like my dad said, you know, I couldn't infringe on another goddess space. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. And a real goddess would not do that. Like she would just be busy creating her own world while the other goddess is busy creating her own world, you know? Now that's not to say that you know, she can't acknowledge the sister god, you know, that would be sis star, like star in the sky, C star, STAR, star in the sky, or C short for cipher, which is circle, which is the woman, you know, that's symbolic of the woman. Cipher, Psi, sister. They just spelt it with an S instead of a C-I, right? Cis star, C star, right? So she can be a C star god, but that's still not a sisterhood. You get what I'm saying? There is no sisterhood of sister gods, right? But that's not to say that the sister god does not acknowledge the next one. She does. She acknowledges her, you know. She may even uh find companionship in terms of you know, like companionship, like when you just want to talk to a friend, you know, like you just want to shoot the shit, like how we used to say back in the day, right? You just shoot the shit, but you're not infringing on her space. See, she's in her space. You shoot the shit, you acknowledge each other, you acknowledge, you know, what you've accomplished in your world, uh, or you acknowledge what she accomplished in her world. She acknowledged what you accomplished in your world. Y'all shoot the shit, and then you space. If the sister God needs like well, basically she's just gonna learn from your wisdom and your experience and what you've created in your world. That's what is supposed to be taken away. Like there is like no coddling or anything like that. Like she tells you what it is and you either receive it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? You know, but there is like, I don't know, this sisterhood that these women keep talking about, a code or anything. There's only a brotherhood, and there's only a code amongst the brotherhood, the patriarch, and the feminist, right? And the sisterhood of Satan, right? So I don't know what they're talking about. Like the code is respect. Respect, and don't envy, and don't hate, and don't set the next woman up to get raped or homicided. Okay? Don't try to seduce the woman to be harmed. Don't try to seduce her so you can draw from her energy to use that against her and to benefit somebody else, you know? But anyway, I'm just so disgusted with these counterfeit spirits and these mud pie beaches. I done said bitch enough. I hope they don't take this down, but y'all, I done rambled on enough with my esoteric rant. I'm gonna come back because the last video I did in the Return of the Great Mother, I did discuss the patriarch and the myth of the patriarch. So I'm gonna come back because I really want to finish that because this goes into that. So until next time, in the meantime, please stay safe. Watch out for these counterfeit spirits, both males and females. Watch out for these G Floyds. Watch out for these male identified Bible thumpers. Okay? Okay? And stay safe. And you have a good morning or a good evening, whatever side of the world you're on. Later.